Hello and welcome to Avasam Insights. My name is Mark, and today I want to continue talking to you about listing using the eBay file method, which used to be file exchange but is now built into the seller dashboard. So obviously in the first video we talked about the mechanics of downloading templates and uploading them to create listings. What I want to talk to you in more detail is more about the action of populating that file and creating those listings to get the most from it. So when you first download your template, what you'll notice is, among other things, there's an info section at the bottom, which I referenced in the first one, and it references a particular page, which is their onboarding guide. Now if we look at that inventory onboarding guide, the first section, which I'm going to skip, covers the download and upload sections of the process in more detail. But this segment here is referencing the common fields and gives you advice about them. For example, as we described in the first video, the action column needs to have the add value entry, so ADD with a capital A, for it to work and tell it to create a listing. The custom label is your Avasam SKU, so that when you map things, or when you need to map things, it can be done automatically and you can easily get your orders through successfully and apply updates to stock levels, etc. Now other things to be more aware of are, for example, the title. So the title is a required field, it's a text field, and it has a maximum of 80 characters. So not words but characters. But this is really valuable real estate. This is the first thing that people will see in search results. It's one of the fields it indexes when it's searching for the terms you specify as a seller. And so therefore you should be looking at using valuable keywords here to ensure that you show up in more searches and you show up higher. So some of those keywords are going to be obvious things such as brand names or things relating to the product. So if you're selling trainers, then shoes is a good key product or a key brand, key identifier here. The brand name, so Nike, Reebok, whatever, that's also valuable here. Don't repeat them though. You don't need to put shoes, Reebok, shoes, Reebok, shoes, Reebok. That will not help you. It will look cheap and tacky to the customers, and you can probably find other things that are more valuable. In addition, when you're selling, of course, you want to be looking at the customers you're targeting and what they're searching for, and using terms that they're searching for in there so that you'll show up higher by having more common hits against their questions or queries. Now, following on from that, of course, as we scroll down here, is the description. Description is also a searchable field, and it's containing a lot more information, obviously, because it doesn't have a size limit as such. But this is somewhere where you can look at answering their questions about the product and giving them the information they want to convince them to click on buy. So if the top part of your listing, which has the title, after they've clicked from the results and it contains price, etc., isn't enough, they'll scroll down to the description to look for the information they need. So you should be structuring this only in basic HTML to make sure it looks the way you want it to. If you're not sure about how HTML works, there are free tools such as Text to HTML online where you can put the text in and it will put basic HTML tags to control paragraph layout and stuff. Anything more complex than that, you can look at getting templates, for example, from third parties, or even looking at the basics of HTML yourself and hand coding. So in there you can put additional fields about the product itself. If people are asking you questions that aren't answered in the description, of course you can go back, or should go back, and amend the description to make sure it answers those. So the trick is you want people to stay with the listing and click buy. You can include external links to information, for example, or information pages, but don't include links which goes to, for example, the page on your Shopify site for that product or a marketing sign-up form. Those things are going to be spotted by eBay and they will remove the listing or may penalise your account for it, because obviously they're making their money mostly from you making the sale on eBay and they want people to stay there. So by all means, you can include links to datasheets or things that you can't embed in there for some reason. So you can embed videos and pictures, but if you absolutely cannot for some reason or another because of the way that it's hosted, then put a link there. But every time someone clicks away from your listing and from that description, there is a small chance they may not come back and you'll lose that sale. So This is also a great place to add more value for the people you're seeking. We include a lot of information about the product by talking to our suppliers, looking at getting high quality information, pictures, etc. But it may be you think that you can do something more personal, more specific to the people you're selling to. So maybe you'll think about researching elsewhere, looking at other listings, looking at the manufacturer's page, maybe even checking reviews and seeing what people are talking about, and using that to improve the content of your listing and make it more attractive. Also think about how you're using language. Younger customers will be happier with informal language and contractions, whereas older customers may prefer you to use more formal language in your description and to be more succinct. Don't forget also there are pictures in the listing. So the item photo URL field, you can have up to 12 photos in the image carousel at the top of the listing. There are certain limitations, such as it having to be at least 1,000 pixels on the longest side. We apply these limits, as well as limits for other marketplaces, to the assets that we take from the suppliers, so that it meets the minimums you need for eBay and others. If you feel that there are other images you would like to put in there, you can obviously source the product and do so. Make sure you have the rights to use those pictures as well. Don't just take them from someone else's listing. It can cause issues for you, obviously, and copyright and so on. If you have more than 12 images, or if you don't think it's appropriate for the carousel, you can embed it using HTML in the description, as I said earlier. This is a valuable way for people to be able to see details and so on, because they can't pick up the item in the shop and look at it. You can display stitching, detailing, connectors, things like that. Now, another important thing as part of the pricing is your shipping. So you can include multiple postal services in these imports, and it has the ability for you to say what it is, how much it will cost, but you can also include an additional price item cost. So if someone orders one from you, it's a £5. If someone orders an additional one, instead of it being £5 for each item, it could be £5 plus £2.50, for example. So the service you're specifying, make sure you're communicating clearly what it is. Don't say it's next day if you've picked a 2 to 3 day service in Avasam, to reduce costs, because obviously eBay will penalise you for late arrival, for example. In addition, when you're costing out what the service would be, you know what the supplier is charging you. Think about including that in the price of the item, so that you can get the free shipping badge, which will also improve your search results. People in the UK seem to be motivated more towards free shipping, and so they'll pay a small amount more for the product in order to get their free shipping, and eBay do recognise this and promote it. You can still add a second service and have a supplemental cost on there, so you could build the cost of the free service into that, either manually or by using our price rules option, in order to have the system calculate the price out in case it changes or is updated by the supplier automatically and piped against your listing. By having the two options as well, you still get your free postage badge on the listing, the fast and free badge, but if people want it faster and they want it next day instead of 2 to 4 days, they can always choose to pay the extra small amount. This will show benefits again in how many people will see your listing and how interested they are in clicking on it and following through. If we go back to the template file, you'll see that this one, unlike the one in the first video, I've built for multiple categories. In this case, I've deliberately chosen 3 categories that are very different to each other. I've put computer CPUs, processors, Disney collectibles, and cat grooming products or pet grooming products. What this is to illustrate is that when you're assembling these files, part of the benefit of using them is consistency and time saved by not having to repeat the same listing form over and over again, but by being able to paste the text in, check it in blocks, and look for consistency to reduce errors or issues If you're using lots of different categories in one file, what you end up with is lots and lots of headings which are marked as compulsory with the star, but they're not all compulsory for all products you're going to put in there. So then, as you can see here, for example, process and model really isn't going to apply to Disney collectibles, but then it doesn't, you don't have a character, story or theme for a processor or for a grooming brush, for example. So if you're going to include multiple categories into a file, make sure they're either very closely related subcategories or just do a single category per file. It will reduce the instance of errors in completing that data, and therefore you're more likely for it to go in correctly the first time rather than it throw up an error you have to investigate, review the file, update the file and resubmit it, and lose all the time that you saved. And also lose potentially the accuracy, because an error may go through as valid but actually be a misspelling, for example, that could make your listing less attractive. Obviously there are other fields in here we have already covered, such as the condition ID, which is 1000 for Avasam because all our products are brand new, where we have provided an awful lot of specifics that are covered in these files. Some of them may not be in there for whatever reason, or you may feel that you need extra detail there. Use those third-party sources to optimize your listing and its content for the people you're expecting it to search for, or to be searching for it, because that will get you the best results in the search. Later on down the line, you can look at broadening it, for example, or changing the focus of it if you feel that will improve your sales performance. But initially, pick a target audience, get the right information for them, but also if you don't include an option and someone filters their search on that option, you will not be included in the results, so you've lost that sale automatically. The more information, the more accurate it is, the better. If people are searching for specific things and eBay doesn't restrict the options that you can include in that field, make sure you're including the language they'll be using to search for as well and filter on. Last point, when listing, try to stick to one listing for the product targeted heavily on a target audience. Amazon has their catalogue obviously, so they try to reduce listings being duplicated by using the barcode, EAN, UPN, whatever, to identify the product, and you list against the catalogue item. eBay is starting to introduce this, which will obviously reduce the number of, or the amount of uniqueness in your listing. But it does mean also they're trying to keep people from having huge numbers of parallel listings which have lots of different focuses. So as they're introducing what they call the product-based seller experience across the categories, you'll see updates that are specific to you, talking about what you can and can't do with the listings. If you work on producing a strong brand listing that's heavily targeted and has a lot of the right information in there, custom photos, whatever, you're going to get a better return as well, because multiple listings tend to dilute the results that you get back. You may end up being 3 or 4 results on there, but you may not be the top result. You may be closer to the bottom. So again, people tend to go for above the cut, above the fold, as they say in newspapers or search results. So among the first few that they see, unless they have to keep scrolling. By having one strong listing, you'll be higher up that list. Obviously, if you have any additional questions, you can reach out to us. Some things we may have to direct you back to eBay for, because it's specific to them, especially when it comes to listing. You can always contact us using live chat in the bottom right corner here, the support ticket system, by email on support@avasam.com, or by giving us a call. We're really motivated to help you there, and we really enjoy working with our customers to help the sellers get better results. Thank you for watching this video, and we look forward to seeing how well you do. Goodbye.